WAC matchup should be a good one here in Stephenville tonight. And you see Tarleton and the Aggies set to go. The aforementioned McCants ends up winning the opening tab. Evan Gilliard, one of the most talented point guards in the league, bringing it up as we take a look at the Aggie starters, highlighted by Gilliard, the 5'10 senior. He can score the basketball, 10 and 2 so far this year. New Mexico State very deliberate on their opening possession and turn it over. It's what Tarleton does best as Jackson comes up with the 17th steal of the year. This Tarleton State club turning teams over at a +8 rate. Some of the best numbers that we have seen in the conference. Texans on their opening possession. A 17-foot mid-range J hangs and falls for Bogues. And Tarleton on the board early. New Mexico State, a team that likes to run a lot of side pick and roll, motion action. Billy Gillespie in his first year at Tarleton loves to employ the man-to-man defense. They ran a little 1-2-2 last week against Dixie State. Out of the trap, they reverse the ball, get a deflection. Tarleton State really playing tough. Shot clock's down inside of 3. And they turn it over. Second turnover in as many possessions. And this is something that Tarleton State did not do in their last game in losing 64-48. This Texan team only forced 15 turnovers. And there's Billy Gillespie, who has made his name at UTEP, A&M, Kentucky, and Texas Tech, and most recently with Ranger Junior College. He's an alumnus of Ranger and took them to the national title game. And here he is at D1 Tarleton State. Nice drive with a floater. It comes off, and New Mexico State has the board, and they'll push it. Here comes Tillman. And that ties the game as Johnny McCants, who averages 10 and 6, 13th best rebounder, puts New Mexico State on the board and ties us. 2 minutes gone by here at Wisdom Gym. Shamir Bogues, who one of the most talented guards, a young freshman, now down inside to Hicks. And yanked down by McCants. And here come the Aggies to take their first lead of the game. McCants very tough at the post position. A wonderful pull-up for Rice, too strong. And there's Hicks with his first rebound. He got pushed over. It's going to go against Donnie Tillman. It's his first team foul. 2.5 minutes into the ball game. See Chris Jans, who is in his 4th season, 89-23 in 4 years here with New Mexico State, a club that has won 3 straight WAC championships under Jans, who was with Wichita State for a very long time. Here's Bogues. He's got a chance to get to the league, and boy, what a great dribble drive, and uses the reverse. Second bucket of the ball game. He's got all 4 for Tarleton. That big post, Johnny McCants, you see him 6'7", 225. Some call him a forward. He can play the 3, 4, or 5 for New Mexico State. This is what Tarleton does, making him go deep into the shot clock. 4 to shoot. 2-man game, the fade and fire, way too strong in the violation. So Tarleton State has forced 2 traditional turnovers and now the shot clock violation. And this is what Billy Gillespie loves to do. They love to force teams into a game of really tug of war, if you will. Tarleton averages 76 a game. That's 5th in the conference, but they would love to take 52, 51, 50 shots in the game. They don't want to be forced to take 60. Tarleton to try to take a 2-possession lead. The Cinco got out of trouble. Here's Gibson for 3. They'll say he had a toenail on the line. And Gibson, who came in 10th best in the league in shooting at 54%, gives Tarleton their largest advantage at 6'2". Cut off the baseline, a staple of Billy Gillespie's program. Tillman trying to back him down. Extra pass, 3 ball for the big man McCants, and he knocks it down. How about that? McCants with all 5. The lead's down to 1. Tarleton State, again, winners of 4 of 5 coming in. And they got off to a slow start this year, but they've really turned it on. And Billy Gillespie loves their exuberance in practice. They rarely turn it down, if ever. It's one of the funnest teams he's ever coached. Again, he's been at 4 different major programs. Went to the Sweet 16 once. Daniel getting fouled. Nice, tough drive there. And the Texans with a 1-point lead in a defensive matchup.
Back at Wisdom Gym in Stephenville for our Wax Spotlight game of the week, 6-5, the early lead for Tarleton. John Littleback alongside Scott Garner. Great to have you with us, Scott. Let's look at the keys to the game here. First of all, for New Mexico State.
And weathering the storm really means trying to put together good offense against the Tarleton State team that turns teams over at a 20 turnover rate per game. They are +8 right now. That is just fantastic.
Absolutely. Dominate the glass as well. New Mexico State very capable of that with their big body program. And for the Tarleton Texans, they want to get after it defensively and just do what they do. As you've been saying, Billy Gillespie in his first year as the head coach has instilled a certain amount of effort in his team, and he hasn't been afraid to turn it over to the newcomers this year, including Shakur Daniel. He really loves this kid and keeps him on the floor as long as he can every game. 40-minute-a-game guy. And
doesn't call him a point guard, he calls him a lead guard. Right. He doesn't like to give positions to his play, a positionless team.
He wants his guards to be a guy that leads you into offense on one side and then gets the guys where they're supposed to be on the defensive side. But yeah, he doesn't like to say 1 guard, 2 guard. Small forward. Maybe he was the first positionless coach, I don't know.
A lot of teams have gone to that, especially those that don't have 6'10", 6'11 guys that can go deep at the 4 and the 5.
Rice, very late in the shot clock here, and he's leaned upon. Shamir Bogues picks up a foul outside as the freshman tries to stay with the very shifty Jabari Rice.
He did. He's got great lateral quickness. Shamir Bogues, he's had some issues in terms of trying to get accustomed to playing at the Division I level, but hey, he's a freshman out of Killeen Ellison High School, a terrific attacker, getting better on defense.
There goes Rice. Quick riser, finds his miss in the lane, lays on it. And a timeout is called by New Mexico State. The Aggies go ahead and spend that use it or lose it to save a possession here in the first half.
You can see New Mexico State limited to just 5 points here in the early goings. They like to get it in the mid-70s. Been holding opponents to 67 a game. These two coaches similar in the fact that they really focus on defense. One of the problems that this Aggie team has had, they really have struggled in terms of the personnel, lost a lot to graduation. You see the effort right there, and I love how the Texans get on the floor when that ball is loose. Freddie Higgs ends up tying it up from behind. He's lucky he didn't get a foul call there. It forces the Aggies into a timeout.
Mexico State goes ahead and uses one of their 4 timeouts to their disposal. The Aggies playing all their games away from home this year. They're 4-2 in what they're calling neutral site games, even those games at the local high schools in El Paso, where New Mexico State has played. They're pseudo-home games. They're 2-4 on the road this season. Kalen Williams trying to bring it in, but he can't. That pressure defense by the Texans forces the 5-second call.
I can't remember the last time I saw a team get a 5-second call out of a timeout. That's how strong this Tarleton defense is.
They've been strong all year. And it really masks some limitations. Look at who they have on the floor right now. Nobody taller than 6'7". Konstantin Dutsenko, and Dutsenko may not even quite be 6'7". Here's Shamir Bogues, late in the shot clock, has to hoist one.
Not a great take. I know it was getting late in the shot clock. They've got to work for a better shot than that. Another turnover by the Aggies.
Rice upset with himself as he turns it over. But Jabari Rice, you'll see it all night. A high motor guy, a hard worker, a fierce competitor. But Coach Jan says sometimes that can work against him as well.
I think it's just incredible to look at Tarleton play defense and how they force turnovers. How about 5 turnovers in 5.5 minutes of play for Tarleton? They force 20 a game. That's incredible.
Again, New Mexico State wants to weather the early storm. So far, Tarleton has really forced them off their offensive game to this point.
They like to run a lot of two-man game, especially on the side, Tarleton State, and they are very deliberate. They'll take it inside of 10 generally in the half court.
And they do here. Gibson, such a quick trigger.
That's what
Gibson, better than 50% from outside.
That's what was not falling at Dixie State in the back half of that doubleheader last weekend, and why they lost and were limited to under 60 points last game.
Open three by C.J. Roberts, and he responds. A guy that played for Coach Gillespie at Ranger College. C.J. Roberts hits the three.
And watch this Tarleton State team. They run this low 1-4 set. Watch them really flash hard off the ball. That's how you can tell when a team really has it. How well do they move away from the ball? One of the really bright spots of this Tarleton team.
Freddie Hicks, another one of these freshmen, a smooth stroke from the baseline. Hicks coming off 13 and 13 last time out against Dixie State in a 38-minute effort.
Only player with a double-double, even though he was 3 of 9 from the floor in that double-double.
Johnny McCants. A very rare skill set from the big man at 6'7", but he can shoot threes with the best of them.
And Johnny McCants, such a very tough matchup because he can stretch the floor and shoot that three. The bigs don't like to come out and defend that far out.
Shakur Daniel pulls it back, the Canadian, dumps it off to Montre Gibson. Again, beating Hicks. Give it to shoot, just needs a sliver of space. That one crawls off.
Another defensive rebound here for New Mexico State. They've out-rebounded it by 3 so far.
Roberts with the quickness, but a little too strong, and there's a foul. See what this is all about. It's going to be a flop warning on Tarleton. Again, last couple years in college basketball, you get that first flop warning. A second one throughout the game means free throws.
We'll see Gilliard come back into the ball game. The undersized point, they list him at 5'10", probably more like 5'8". But I like how Coach Jans has really made the adjustment, and they're really starting to attack the paint against Tarleton, forcing Tarleton to stay in front in man-to-man defense.
Shows what a good matchup this can be between these two squads. Montre Gibson sends it around the outside for Shamir Bogues. Datsinko. He has unlimited range. That 15-footer, no problem for the Russian.
But really good offensive player. He's versatile. He can shoot. He's tall at 6'7". That is a nice fade and fire on the baseline. Not a lot of guys his size can do that consistently.
Clayton Henry looks back door. Nice cut and one. As C.J. Roberts delivers, going to the bucket.
Boy, and C.J. Roberts, the transfer from Ranger, as you mentioned before, Broward College transfer as well. He's really talented.
Certainly is. New Mexico State. C.J. Roberts, the former 4-star recruit out of the Metroplex area, delivers on this bucket to put New Mexico State to even.
It's a great pass, too, a great feed inside, and they get inside of Constantine Datsinko, that 6'7" forward, and really good back cut, but I thought a better find on the edge.
And it gives C.J. Roberts an opportunity to give his team the advantage here. C.J. Roberts out of the Metroplex, North Richland Hills, went to Richland High School where he was a 4-star recruit, originally a Missouri commit, but went the junior college route. Ended up playing with Coach Gillespie last season at Ranger Junior College. Now he's playing against him.
While these two teams are defensive oriented, they're both shooting over 60% right now. But Tarleton State has forced a bevy of turnovers to start this ball game.
For Tarleton State, really that's what they want to do because they know there are some limitations height-wise when they're defending in the half court.
Out of the timeout, a little 2-2-1 three-quarter court press. Tarleton trying to break it.
Out to Datsinko. But that one doesn't go. Offensive rebound by the freshman Bogues, and he's fouled going back up.
Yeah, and it's the offensive rebounds that were somewhat non-existent against Dixie State. They did get 9 last game, but only 4 the game before that. And Billy Gillespie really talks about getting the backside guards to crash into the paint on shots, especially mid-range jumpers, and that time they do, and they get paid for it going to the line.
Shamir Bogues already with 5 points in this one. He has 4 double-figure games in his freshman season. Out of Killeen, Ellison High School, Central Texas.
A great offensive glass, and just for the mere fact that he was able to go up strong and draw the foul makes him very valuable to this Texan team. That's a mindset.
1 of 2 that trip to tie it back up at 14 competitive games so far. Here's the first ever time these two teams meet in the WAC. New Mexico State leads the all-time series, 1-0. Another good look for C.J. Roberts, and he continues to best some of his former teammates. 9 points for Roberts.
You know, he came in only a 27% three-point shooter. He was just 6 of 22 from deep. Hadn't taken that many takes, hadn't hit that many, but he looks very loose tonight.
No doubt about it. Hicks inside, hits the deck as he misses on the jump. Clayton Henry into the front court for the Aggies. Needs some help. Gilliard out of Chicago to Roberts. That one's just a little short, but he got the step for sure.
And good help by DeCinco to force that tough floater farther away than they wanted, and Tarleton gets the ball.
Oh, Bogues right through the middle. And the offensive rebound and stick back by Montre Gibson. Tarleton back within 1.
Well, and you see the offensive glass for this Tarleton State team has proved to be really beneficial. It's their second one in a row, and they've gotten points both times.
C.J. Roberts has 9 of the points so far for New Mexico State, and 8 have come from Johnny McCants. Those 2, the only ones doing the scoring so far for the Aggies. In the corner, Evan Gilliard, the second, not shy about pulling the trigger. He's a scoring point guard, his first 3.
Boy, he is, and he's a tough left-handed shooter. It's his second year in the program. Came in with 39 assists, but he averages 10 a game. He's a senior. He's the UTEP transfer. Gillespie knows him well.
Now a 4-point lead for New Mexico State, their largest so far. Stepping into it, Daniel comes up short. And a travel again on the Aggies. C.J. Roberts can't believe it.
6th turnover against the Aggies so far. Tarleton has yet to turn it over, but you see another great shot. What a great catch and shoot 3 from the corner for Gilliard. And he came in tied for 15th and makes from deep. That's his 19th of the year.
This Aggie program trying to get things going late stages of the season, with 4 games left in the regular season before the WAC tournament. Mexico State, the 3-time defending regular season champions in this league, but have found sledding a little bit tougher this year as a slip and fall in the corner ends up costing Tarleton.
Yeah, first turnover of the game. You're 10 minutes plus in. You haven't turned the ball over. You've done well. And the first one that New Mexico State forces ended up being a slip right there on the sideline. You see Coach Jans has to be a little bit concerned with how this Tarleton State team is getting good looks right now, even though they've got a 4-point lead.
Rice underneath to McCants. Great position, bodying up against DeCinco. Nice little spin move, but comes up short.
Well, he doesn't miss very often when he's that deep. Tarleton did not go red on the post, and McCants had a really good look at it, just did not convert.
Gibson, the leading scorer for the Texans, gives it up. Daniel to initiate the offense. Texans patient in the half court. A look for Freddie Hicks. And Hicks is called for the travel. They pulled the rug out from under Freddie Hicks.
Yeah, and Freddie Hicks committing the 2nd turnover in a row for Tarleton State. And this Texan team, again, down by 4. And you watch that last play, using that crab dribble, but the drop step got him in trouble. He was off balance when he dropped that left foot, and he ends up turning the ball over.
Had Gilliard at 5'10" in the post. Exactly what Tarleton wanted. Rice back in, the star player for New Mexico State. The preseason WAC player of the year, wearing number 10, but it's knocked away from him by Shakur Daniel. Down on the floor, looking for a timeout, and instead a tie ball.
Yeah, and they're not happy about it either, because I think Daniel was trying to get a timeout called, and the official didn't grant it. He was looking right at him.
Tie ball is possession to Tarleton. So either way, Tarleton basketball here.
And I think it really turns out in Coach Billy Gillespie in Tarleton's favor, because you never want to use timeouts just to save a possession in the first half unless it's really necessary. And you see Shakur just trying to look at the official, ends up getting the whistle blown for a jump ball. And I think he wanted a foul too.
For some reason, just They reset the shot clock to 20 here instead of a new 30 for Tarleton, even though there was a change of possession there. Gibson steps into one.
Tough ball pressure, and Gibson with a hand right in his face ended up shooting it anyway. Not a great look, and the Texans will get it anyway.
Yeah, third travel for the Aggies, as McCants just came down a little bit awkwardly, stumbles away, and he's called for the travel. Another early giveaway for the Aggies, who are shooting it well, Scott, but giving it away too much. Aggies go small with Clayton Henry coming back in.
It's interesting. Coach Jans has decided to turn up the guard pressure a little bit in the half court to make these Tarleton guards uncomfortable.
Bogues curling into the lane. That's a charge.
It's a great attack, but I thought an even better defensive play to stay in front. Really good first step by Bogues, who's left-handed anyway, and you saw him put it on the floor really hard, going vertical, and just runs over the defender just outside of the chart circle.
Second one on Shamir Bogues. You have to watch that. Evan Gilliard coming over to take that charge. And the Texans have to pull out Shamir Bogues and come back with Taj Small for the first time out of Durham, North Carolina. Missed last weekend's games against Dixie State, but he's been the leading scorer off the bench this season for Tarleton at about 11 points a game. And a good defender as well, as you can see. Hounding Gilliard up the floor. It results in a turnover. This one's going Tarleton's way.
Oh, yeah, this New Mexico State team running up against a buzzsaw defensive matchup with Tarleton.
Tarleton's defense leading the way, but New Mexico State up by 4. The WAC game of the week has lived up to the hype so far. New Mexico State up on Tarleton, 20-16. Head coach Billy Gillespie, Tarleton State, he has got the pedigree. He has really done a nice job wherever he has been over the years, and it started back in the day at UTEP.
Has, and you know, he went to the Sweet 16 about 10 years ago, and really learned from Bill Self, and he's familiar with the WAC. When he was coaching over there at UTEP, 02 to 04 for 3 years, then goes to A&M, then Kentucky, and then the last couple in the NCAA Division I ranks with Texas Tech. And here he is with Tarleton State, and he's brought a lot of players from Ranger over with him.
5 of them this year. I can't ever remember seeing a team with 5 junior college transfers from one school in 1 year, but Gillespie doing what it takes to build this program.
And he wanted to bring those players over because he's comfortable with them. He knows how hard they work. He knows what it takes to get it done at this level, and he trusts them.
And heck, they know him as well. Tarleton trying to cut into the lead. Taj Small finds Gibson right in the middle of the floor. Gibson rises and hits.
It's a much-needed bucket for Tarleton, as they were 1 for their last 6 shooting. This is what Tarleton does. They love to run the half-court set. They don't really push the ball and tempo it a lot. They like to get great looks in the half court.
Little ISO here, Donnie Tillman to the rack with the beautiful reverse.
Well, he just blew right by Jonathan Jackson, who just could not stay with Tillman, who's a scoring threat. Terrific mid-range shot, but that time he took it all the way to the rack.
That really was pretty from the former Pac-12 Sixth Man of the Year as a sophomore a few years back. Shakur Daniel gives it back out to Jonathan Jackson. Center at 6'5". Back to Gibson.
Tough 4-out, 1-in motion right here that Tarleton is running. They've got some matchup advantages out there.
Gibson just a little bit strong, and Tillman crashes down for that rebound, leads the team with 6 a game.
Yeah, and Gibson, a guy that averages 15 a contest, 9th in the league, and they're hoping that he really gets going off the bounce.
Tillman has it knocked away from Jonathan Jackson there, and it stays with New Mexico State.
And Donnie Tillman, the UNLV and Utah transfer, this is his 3rd school, as we see C.J. Roberts, the junior out of North Highland Village, and he has a seat.
Both these teams liberally subbing early. As Kalen Williams is in to run the point. Finds Rice. He can score from all 3 levels, but passes up on a 3 here. Drive by Williams with only 4 to shoot. Finds Henry late in the shot clock. Got it off in time, but it's out of bounds off of Tarleton. Freddie Hicks couldn't corral it.
Just a terrific closeout by Montre Gibson, who made it very difficult. Usually you get a drive and a kick out and a wide open three off of that, but Tarleton so very aggressive at being able to close out on three-point shooters. And New Mexico State has not shot well recently.
Back inside the lane, quick hops. Tillman grabs his own miss and scores.
Well, he missed the bunny, which is what you absolutely hate, but Chris Jans loves the effort and the offensive glass. He's still able to convert.
See the next level athleticism from the Detroit native. Largest lead for New Mexico State at 6. Texans try to cut into it.
More two-man game right here as they try to get into the mid-post to Hicks, but he was being pushed off the block by the much larger McCants.
Daniel around that screen all the way to the cup. No foul call as he hits the deck, and again Tillman with the board.
Tough drive by Daniel, but the size got him. He could not finish and did not draw the foul. Big victory defensively for the Aggies.
Oh, an easy turn away by Johnny McCants. Got the mismatch against Gibson. Scores it easily, and Billy Gillespie needs to talk it over.
Boy, and Johnny McCants, if he catches mid-post or deeper, he is very, very tough. And they're trying to get a double team on him when he catches, because if he catches one-on-one mid-post, he's going to crab you down and make a strong drop step move to the basket. That's his specialty, and he's so very tough. You really have to do the work before he catches if you're going to defend him well.
And Montre Gibson at 5'11" just really didn't have a chance.
He didn't.
Big mismatch there.
When you're undersized like that and you're playing from behind, and you really have no choice but to play from behind, you've got to use that forearm to push him off the block. And off the block against McCants tonight means higher than the mid-post. I mean, you got to get him out of there. If he catches, you're in trouble.
Some New Mexico State fans able to see their team in person for one of the rare times this year. Again, they have not been able to have any home games on campus because of COVID-19 precautions in the state of New Mexico. So some Aggie fans in attendance here at Tarleton State University, seeing the Aggies open up that 8-point advantage.
We talked to Coach Jans earlier in the week, and he's trying to have that positive disposition, even though his team's been put in a tough spot.
Jackson has the talent to trigger from there. Comes up empty, and Tarleton continues to give away a run to New Mexico State.
Yeah, they're not getting much on the offensive glass. It's really what hurt them in that second game against Dixie State in the loss.
Oh, that one's knocked away. Hustle play. Shakur Daniel diving for it, but not able to come up with the possession.
Well, great effort right there by Shakur Daniel, who's a really tough point guard. You see him diving for loose balls, winning 50-50 balls. Such a leader on the floor and off the court. Just a terrific player. He's a junior out of Toronto and played for Coach Gillespie at Ranger Junior College.
While he was in Canada, there were some comparisons he was drawing to Andrew Wiggins in the NBA. Boy, nice back cut and the layup by Henry.
Boy, and Clayton Henry, not only was it a great back cut, he cut it just the right time to get separation and an easy conversion to extend the lead to 10.
Yeah, Kalen Williams with the nifty bouncer. Taj Small, leading scorer off the bench, good on his second one, and the foul. Tarleton really needed that one.
He's the best rebounder on the team, and boy, he needed it that time. He misses the runner, but somehow in mid-flight gets the putback to go. What a great athletic play right there. Terrific putback by Taj Small, the Troy transfer.
Breaks a nice little run for New Mexico State, and Small is 78% foul shooter to the line.
Yeah, 8-0 spurt there for the Aggies, and that's what they can do to you. Again, they don't shoot all that well, but they can convert inside when they get paint touches.
And if they can stay away from the turnover bug here early, they've proven they can shoot it against this particular team. In for the first time, Will McNair, big man number 24, and that one's just a little bit wide for Johnny McCants. Another turnover on the Aggies.
And Freddie Hicks, if you watch that, really doing a good job of three-quartering the big man there. They make the adjustment of three-quartering the 6'7" McCants.
See 10 turnovers, and Tarleton's turned those previous 9 into 9 points so far. See what they can do with this one, down by 7. Stepping out, Freddie Hicks, the freshman, putting it up. No good, but Small skies for the rebound and dribbles out of traffic.
It just took it away from McCants. How about that? That's effort. And that's what Billy Gillespie loves about this team.
Small off to Gibson. Gibson, a talented scorer. Out of Waxahachie, Texas, south of Dallas. And a foul is called. This one is going on Montre Gibson for that drive. An offensive foul, one of the rare turnovers for Tarleton, just their second of the evening.
Great drive right there by Montre Gibson as we see it here, strong into the paint.
But so far, New Mexico, 12 games so far for New Mexico State this season, and they've played everywhere but home. The facility in Phoenix, Arizona, the Don Haskins Center, the home of UTEP, also high school in El Paso as well. What a tough season because of COVID for so many reasons for New Mexico State.
It's really hard to do that when you're changing venues all the time. It's very hard for a team to perform well anyway at this level, let alone in different facilities.
I think that's a big reason why Chris Jans is so proud of his program. That's now 6 of 7 from beyond the arc in this one. Kalen Williams hits his first 3 of the game.
They are hitting shots that came in 30% from beyond the arc. That's 8th in the league, and they are shooting lights out right now here in this first half.
Like we said, 6 of 7. Meanwhile, Tarleton has struggled to that 1 of 8 effort. It all adds up to a 10-point advantage for the Aggies. Jonathan Jackson trying to go to work. An attack by Daniel, and Daniel earns foul shots.
I love how Daniel and company not afraid to attack, even against these bigger forwards and post, to get into the paint to try to draw fouls. They may not finish, but at least they'll go to the line to get shots.
Shakur Daniel back to the line for a couple. Hasn't scored yet in this one, 0 for 2 from the line.
And that's the mindset that this program really has. I mean, you look at how the schedule developed with Billy Gillespie coming on scene here in Stephenville, scheduling teams like, how about number 1 Gonzaga, Baylor, Kansas, and others at that level. And it's one of the things that Billy Gillespie wanted to do. He wanted to prove to everyone that, hey, we're not afraid to play anybody. This is who we are. We're going to be defensive oriented, and we're going to get it done. And it really helps sell the program too.
And when you're taking that step up from Division II to Division I, when you schedule those teams, as you get a chance to look at Shakur Daniel on that drive, when you schedule those teams, you know, people start looking across the country at that ESPN scroll and saying, all right, Tarleton State, who is this?
That's right.
And then you upset somebody on the road, one of those top 5 teams down the line. Now you really got something.
And in this era of COVID, I don't know if you've been watching the top 25, but it seems like we've got a much larger ratio of upsets this year than we've had in recent history.
It's just such an uneven year. Anything could happen for sure. Kalen Williams, who just hit that 3, backs it out against Taj Small.
Boy, Tarleton not afraid to put ball pressure on these guards.
Switching everything. Small, wrapped up, and a tie ball. Possession stays with the Aggies, but there's only 4 to shoot here.
Yeah, and this Tarleton team continues to stay in man defense. A lot of teams will run what's called a pack line defense, where the backside guards will be in the middle of the paint. They don't help off that much, but when you get the attack, the backside guards converge so quickly, it's almost as if they've been playing help all along.
Kalen Williams has it stolen away by Montre Gibson, the 11th turnover of this evening. Somebody lost a shoe as well on that play. Freddie Hicks inside, may have gotten away with a walk, but he throws it away anyway.
Yeah, nobody in the corner to pass to, and he kind of got himself in trouble. Probably would have been better served to pull up and take that jumper instead of attacking amid the trees there. But Tarleton State continues to fight, still an 8-point game.
Story right now, though, is that the only way Tarleton can stop New Mexico State is by taking the ball away. There's the lost shoe. Get a chance to see it there from C.J. Roberts. As Billy Gillespie starts to work on the officials.
Love his mantra. Play hard, play smart, play tough. And love that mantra. And that's something that he got from Bill Self. And all of you Dallas Maverick fans watching this ball game, it's the mantra that the Mavericks have sort of employed. They use that a lot in their camps.
Gillespie says, I come from the Bill Self coaching tree. That's how I ascribe myself. I think you'll see them match up with Kansas a few more times down the line, as well as Johnny McCants continues to get free inside.
Seen some great finds from the outside into McCants. McCants always seems to be in the right place at the right time. He's got great hands for a big man. Very crafty around the rim. He's hard to defend.
With that bucket, yet another 10-point advantage for New Mexico State. They've been able to grow it to this 10-point lead a couple times here in the first half.
You know, this Texan team, averaging 76 points a game, 5th in the league. But they really struggled last time out to put the ball in the hole against Dixie State. Just 48 points and shot 35% against Dixie State. They're at 39% right now.
You're just going to see different type of defense against conference foes. Great sharing. Roberts and Rice going back and forth. Roberts for the 2.
Texans having a hard time getting back in transition, and Roberts off the bench again. The former Broward College standout ends up finishing in transition.
Again, he was a 4-star recruit coming out of high school. He's showing off some of that here. Taj Small left open, and it's just rimming out for Tarleton. Only 1 for 10 now from the outside. Rice trying to respond. Ooh, and he cinches the strings. Jabari Rice finally on the scoreboard, and New Mexico State opens up a 15-point advantage.
Boy, and they are hot too from beyond the arc. They have only missed 1 3 in the game, believe it or not, to this point. And this was a team that had not shot well coming in, just 30% from deep. And you watch this at secondary break, just a catch and shoot from the corner. The closeout was there. The shot was better. And what a job by Jabari Rice to drain it.
And Chris Jans has said it. You look at us over the years, that is part of our DNA. We are going to be a 3-point shooting team. It hasn't gone down this season. It's a big reason why we're only 6-6, 3-5 in conference play. We're just going to keep believing in what we do.
And this New Mexico State team, almost 40 points at the break, and close to the most that Tarleton has permitted in a single half so far this year in a first half.
Chris Jans has been able to light a fire under his team late here in the first half to swing in front of Tarleton by 15, forced that timeout by the Texans. Tarleton really having trouble putting the ball in the basket here in the first half.
And having a hard time getting looks inside. They're going deep into the shot clock a bunch.
Daniel, little one-on-one play. Freddie Hicks stripped going up.
And Hicks had to put it on the floor when he caught it. It would have been better served to take it right up, and it cost him.
Rice, a little bit out of control, that high dribble, and loses it out. Jabari Rice, the WAC preseason player of the year, held scoreless until that 3 moments ago. You see how hard he plays.
Montre Gibson coming back out as we end up seeing the departure.
Tarleton starting to give it away a few more times. Dutsenko, he's got the range. There's a lot of contact there. He tried to sell the call, but to no avail.
And not a great take. When you combine bad takes with poor shooting, it makes it very tough to score, and Billy Gillespie not very happy about it either.
The hack by Taj Small means free throws for New Mexico State. The 1-and-1 on the, or rather, that only the 5th on Tarleton, my apologies. So 1 that they had to give.
And we're going to see Dutchenko come out of the ball game, and Billy Gillespie explaining it to him that, hey, that's not a good look. You're 5-6 feet beyond the arc. We're not shooting well. We've got to work to get a good shot. It's just not Tarleton's game. C.J.
Roberts, 12 in the first half, playing against a lot of his former teammates. A deep 3 by McCants. Oh, my goodness, they cannot miss. New Mexico State up big.
They trap the ball, end up giving up a wide-open pick and pop as the backside rotation was laid. And they had a chance to measure the 3 and hit it.
And they'll be measuring that one after the game as well. Last shot of the first half, off the mark for Shakur Daniel. What a first half for New Mexico State. The Aggies close it with a flourish. As from outside, New Mexico State just dominates, and Tarleton is held scoreless for the last 3 minutes of the first half.
This New Mexico State team hitting shots for all that we talked about. New Mexico State struggling from the field. They hit their last 8 shots taken of the half and put up 41 points against a very good defensive Tarleton State team. In transition, they do it. They haven't had a chance to do that a lot, and they really convert. Tarleton State lucky to keep it this close.
Smaller starting lineup for the Tarleton Texans. Back on the floor, Montre Gibson led all Tarleton scores with 9 in the first half, wearing number 1. Shamir Bogues picked up 2 fouls in the first half. It's number 25.
Tarleton stays with that 4-out, 1-in motion to start this second half.
Jackson called for the travel, trying to size up Johnny McCants. You know, what what Billy Gillespie likes about Jackson at the center spot is the fact he can size up some of those bigger dudes across from him, try to drive by. But Johnny McCants is a pretty good defender and pretty quick feet for 6'7".
He is, and Jackson at 6'6". He's a tough matchup himself because he's a guard that can kind of step out. But this is sort of an even matchup with McCants. Jonathan Jackson has his hands full, though, here in the second half.
And McCants got the seal on Jonathan Jackson, but the pass a little too strong by Jabari Rice. Hasn't been the greatest production from Jabari Rice in this one.
You know, Tarleton's had a chance really to win every single game. Nobody plays harder than this Texan team. Now, they ended up playing, I believe it was ACU earlier this year, extended the lead to 20. So it's rare to see the disparity on the scoreboard like we're seeing it tonight.
Daniel has an open three if he wants it. Instead, Gibson right back to Daniel, driving through defenders. Sets up Jackson, who passes up on the three. Only one to shoot. Finally, Gibson at the end of the shot clock, and they're now 1 of 11 from outside. My goodness.
And got a great look. It's the third best three-point shooter in the league, but he just could not get it to go. Went halfway down and came out. It's just been that kind of night for the Texans.
Freddie Hicks picks up his second foul for Tarleton. That kind of night for sure, and it's the tale of two baskets. Whatever basket that Tarleton's shooting at cannot be penetrated. And the Aggies have certainly shot well tonight. Again, 8 of 9 from beyond the arc. Donnie Tillman bashing against Hicks. Hicks standing up to it. Rice very active and lays one home.
Well, Hicks did a great job defensively for the Texans, really forcing a bad take. But then the offensive glass for New Mexico State really doing a lot of work on the backside, and that's helped out this Aggie team.
New largest lead for New Mexico State at 20. Meanwhile, Tarleton did not score in the last 3 minutes of the first half. So far, the first 2 minutes of the second half, they haven't been able to score either. Deep two. Shamir Bogues finally breaks through.
Well, you like to see him step back and make that a three right there. That's one of the tougher shots in basketball. And, you know, you've seen Tarleton bypass some open looks here from the perimeter, and I'm not sure why they're not pulling it. I know they're not shooting it well, but I know Billy Gillespie would like to see them knock those down.
A little bit gun shy, even playing at home, trying to find their footing. On the drive, Kalen Williams pulls up and hits.
Boy, and great fundamentals right there by Williams. It goes up in a cylinder with that floater right there. Really good job by the sophomore, the Western Nebraska Community College transfer.
Suffered a foot injury in the summer practices that kept him out till late December, so just starting to round into form and spanning the halves. You see it there in New Mexico State on a 14-2 run to blow this thing open. My goodness. Jackson, little shoulder shake. No.
It's tough, and you don't like to see Jackson fade away like that close to the basket, but that's what McCants does to opposing post. He gets you out of your game.
Williams getting wherever he wants against Shakur Daniel. Williams has it back. Runs into a triple team, and finally a tie ball.
Nice job right there. Good tie-up. Shakur Daniel, who's the lead guard, not the point guard, they call him the lead guard, coming over from the behind to tie up the penetrator. Good job by Tarleton to force the jump, but still the Aggies catching every break. They remain with the possession.
Tarleton brings their main bench guard in Taj Small onto the floor, and Small goes after it. There's only 5 to shoot. Another tie ball? You bet. And Rice is just attacked, and Tarleton this time has possession.
Well, that's the trademark of Billy Gillespie's team, just maximum effort. When that ball gets loose, you see guys diving for it. You saw 2 guys there on the floor, and they forced the jump ball, a third getting in there, 3 guys on the floor for Tarleton State. You can't ask for more effort than that.
And look at Rice. I mean, he's taking shots to the back from Shakur Daniel. I mean, he's getting clubbed out there. They've held Rice down nicely, only 5 points in this one, but everybody else has stepped up for New Mexico State for a 20-point lead. New Mexico State's defense has really been shorn up as this game has gone along. Here's a push on Jabari Rice, picking up his second foul of the night.
Bogues using that ability to score off the bounce to get the defender in trouble. They tried the two-man game left side, and they reversed the ball, tried it on the other side, wasn't there, and I loved how the post ended up moving and drifting to the elbow to allow the driver some room on the baseline.
Daniel has to call timeout. Tarleton left with only one timeout for the rest of this contest after having to save the possession. New Mexico State continues to control a large lead in Stephenville. Tarleton State has had their fair share of battle with the COVID this season, contributing to only playing 16 games to this point. But they've been 5-2 in their last 7, really rounding into form here at the end of the season.
Yeah, and they're having a hard time scoring in transition, a hard time creating turnovers and scoring off of those turnovers. They've been limited to 48 points 3 times this year, and in their last game as well. They may struggle to get there tonight.
Jonathan Jackson with his first 2, and that's exactly what he wants to do. Isolate a big like Will McNair, and then use his speed to go past the 6'10" player.
And really crafty finish with a reverse on the backside, too, with the left hand.
There's another turnover on New Mexico State. Haven't had many of those here in the second half, and we'll see if Tarleton can take advantage after a timeout. So Tarleton State with a bucket, but New Mexico State still controls a very large advantage. Tarleton fans undaunted by the tough start to this one against New Mexico State, still showing up in force. New Mexico State playing on the road and leading big by 18 points. And you look, they've had to play on the road all season, Scott, and they're one of the best teams in the last few years when it comes to playing on the road. 28-7 is their true road record. Nice job to break the press, but Jackson called for the foul.
And boy, Jackson way out of control there on the drive. The 6'6", 230-pound senior out of Fort Worth, the Prairie View A&M and Ranger Junior College transfer, just again way out of control on the drive. And boy, credit New Mexico State for being able to get in front and grab that charge.
Chris Jan says Clayton Henry is his best defender. He came up with a key stop there as Jackson was trying to get out in transition.
Well, he showed it that time, and I just love the positioning. And it didn't take him long either. Knew exactly what he was going to do with it.
C.J. Roberts had a huge first half, this time blocked by the freshman Hicks.
That's played by Hicks coming over, trying to close out, and did so outside the paint.
Shakur Daniel is fouled on his way to the rack by Kalen Williams.
Like how Tarleton trying to force the issue a little bit more instead of trying to play every possession in the half court. Very tough to do when you're undersized. Really nice block there by Freddie Hicks, who came in with 10 of those, 12th in the league in the WAC in blocks. Nice leaner.
Oh, a little behind the back move by Taj Small, and Small has his first 2 of the second half. Yeah. Little mini run for Tarleton.
Tarleton State trying to put it together. Love how they're pushing the action here, getting to the rack, getting some space, and doing some work in transition too. Nice adjustment out of the timeout for Billy Gillespie's team. 24
of the Aggie points in the first half came from beyond the three-point line. Henry denied this time.
And how about Bogues on the offensive glass, or on the defensive glass, I should say, to give him an offensive possession.
Going high, but Small called for going out of bounds.
You know, Billy Gillespie, you know, while his ball club's 7-9 right now, this is a guy who's been at every level from the high school ranks here in Texas to the junior college ranks, and he's coached big-time programs like Kentucky, A&M, and Texas Tech. And you look at the time he spent in those programs. He spent 3 years at UTEP, 4 at A&M, 3 at Kentucky, 2 at Tech. He knows what it takes to win, and more importantly, I think for Tarleton, he knows how to build a program from the ground up, John.
And talking to him, he's, besides the record, I mean, he truly knows the record does not tell the story of his team this year. Tillman to the bucket, counted and one.
Boy, Donnie Tillman, so strong off the bounce. What a great job against not one but 2 different defenders just to get to the rack.
You have the foul to Jonathan Jackson. He took some contact, too, right in the face.
And look at that. You love to see guys like Tillman, 6'7", 225, the senior. He doesn't shy away from the contact. In fact, he initiates the contact. The UNLV transfer also had some time at Utah. Now he's at New Mexico State. Really, really strong guard. 6 rebounds a game, shooting 44%. Rebounds a lot of his own misses because of that aggression.
Tillman with a little double clutch there. Yeah. We've got a lane violation because of it.
How about a shot fake at the foul line?
I haven't seen that before.
It's been a long time. The officials are going to talk about it here, and a lot of jousting going on between Gibson and Highlander there.
One for two, or rather, it felt like 1 for 2. But the and one trip for Donnie Tillman to put it in. He's at 7, coming off several great games in double figures for New Mexico State. Couple in a row against Utah Valley, and an easy giveaway for Tarleton. Just a miscommunication between the guards.
And a rare turnover for Tarleton State, who again only gives it up about 12 times a game. And they're right at that mark right now. They're still +4 in turnovers, but you know, midway through this second half, Billy Gillespie wants to see his team execute on offense, kind of clean it up, and be able to score in the half court.
Neither of these teams turn it over much. Henry to the baseline, can't get the kind bounce.
Boy,
Hicks out to Gibson.
Great defense right there with a help side.
Gibson blocked as he goes up by Marcus Watson, but Watson is going to pick up the foul as well. Montre Gibson attacking early there, and Gibson just has such a versatile offensive game. We've seen him in the paint today. We've seen him from the three-point line. We've seen him go to the free throw line where he's 86% this season.
And we've seen Tarleton be aggressive now, trying to score in transition. And they've shaved a couple of points off of this New Mexico State lead. And Montre Gibson, you watch him on the attack here, trying to get downhill. Good scoop, was able to draw the foul.
Not just a ton of contact there. Sure, that's what Marcus Watson's thinking. And a 1 of 2 trip for Montre Gibson. But Gibson in double figures for the 11th time this season. Tarleton down by 18. For the Aggies, Kalen Williams has run the point for most of the night, and we have seen Evan Gilliard II some, but not as much as advertised.
And Gilliard and also Roberts, they're very tough off the dribble, tough to stay in front. And that's really hurt Tarleton at times, kind of made them vulnerable inside the paint.
C.J. Roberts stepping back and drilling one.
You don't see Roberts connect like this. There's a 27% three-point shooter. He said every three he's taken tonight, but it's easier to shoot. You can shoot a little bit looser when you're out in front by 20.
And also when you're playing against 5 guys that used to be your teammates. Spin move by Gibson for 2 against his former teammate Roberts.
Really good job right there. You see Gibson not settling for the jumper, using the spin move to get right up to the rim and able to convert.
Donnie Tillman, nice sharing of the basketball. Watson wide open. The three-point barrage continues for the Aggies.
Great find by Kalen Williams on the extra pass. This is what New Mexico State has been doing repeatedly and making things tough on Tarleton.
22-point advantage for the visiting Aggies, playing in Stephenville for the first time ever. First of a back-to-back. As Freddie Hicks tries to go to work and earns foul shots. Looks like the Texans are really intent on trying to make it to the foul line and extend this game from 15 feet in the second half.
Well, you know, you got to make an adjustment. When you're shooting 34% as they were, you've got to find a way to get to the foul line or get to the rack because the jumper just not working. They were 1 of 10 at halftime from beyond the arc, and I like the adjustment that Billy Gillespie has been able to make with his team. You look at this, nice feed down inside, and I love how the undersized guards like Hicks don't fade and fire. They initiate the contact, go up, draw the foul, stay closed on the layup attempt, make the defender go through you.
Freddie Hicks has not had his best game tonight, but a tough guy. He came in really hungry and willing to work and get better as a freshman. Billy Gillespie said he was really green when he came in.
Yeah, he was, and you know, he wants to be good. He puts in that effort. He had 20 in a game earlier this year, had 13 against Cal Baptist, and was really, really good.
Johnny McCants back in, feeds Tillman. Tarleton making it tough, even though they're outsized, and a foul called against the Aggies on the loose ball.
And great effort. You see that feistiness. Shamir Bogues, very scrappy. He's a freshman that Billy Gillespie feels like has a chance to make it in the league, has a chance to get to the NBA if he keeps working. And you see that scrappy mindset. That's what it takes. That's what I love about a lot of these guards for Tarleton. They don't just settle for jumpers. They do the dirty work. They're going to score their points, but they're going to do the dirty work to allow this ball club to stay competitive. Would be fun to see them start shooting at a higher percentage to make this a closer game down the stretch.
Certainly that's what everybody wants to see on our Spotlight Game of the Week. But New Mexico State, thanks to their outside shooting, they've been huge. One of the first times, a little bit of zone defense here. An explosion down the baseline by Javante Hopkins, but he can't convert at the bucket.
Love the ball reversal. Hopkins just could not quite put the ball in the bucket, but good zone offense there for the first time against this New Mexico State team.
Jamari Rice back on for the first time in a while with the ball in the corner. McCants to McNair. Back to Rice. Good look at a three. A little bit flat. Tarleton.
See if they push it here.
Yeah, trying to speed it up. You're exactly right. And just a little bit out of control. Bogues misfires for Taj Small.
Boy, just cannot turn that over. Small, the best three-point shooter in the league, was set in the corner had he just gotten the pass.
New Mexico State continues to lead big. Odd, uneven, different. Just some of the ways that Chris Jans describes this season for New Mexico State. It's really been weird for this Aggie squad.
It has, you know, and Coach Jans used to success, 89-23 in his last 4 years. And they didn't play for 28 days in late December into January. He's had a rough go of it this year, trying to get his team on track. They came in 6-6, winners of 3 of 5, but boy, they look good tonight.
Had those 65 straight nights they spent away from home in places other than their own beds. But the Aggies have endured, and now they hit February, about to be March, still with everything out in front of them. When you talk about the WAC tournament and a possible bid to the NCAA tournament, which is always what they want. Baseline drive by Johnny McCants as he's run off the line and goes to the line for two.
How about McCants with the blow-by? The help for Tarleton was late. McCants able to draw the foul, and he goes to the line. Boy, he has had a great game. 15 points on 6 of 7 shooting, has hit all 3 threes, has 4 boards to boot. You see Coach Jans really excited about what this big man can do, and man, he is quite a weapon. We expected him to be good, and you watch him on tape, and he's impressive, but you see him in person, man, he just looks so imposing. Look at that drive with the left hand, and the help there, as you see from Freddie Hicks coming late. You want to close out on a guy outside the paint. You can't let McCants get that deep.
McCants not able to make good on both, and the lead stays at 22 for New Mexico State. A team that has not won on the front end of this back-to-back adventure in WAC play. Chris Jans said, I'd let you know what it's like to win on a Friday, but I don't know quite yet. Oh, a nice move into the lane, cupping and scoring, Shamir Bogues.
Well, he's left-handed, and he's best on the right side of the floor, having able to banana into the paint, able to get leverage on his defender, but I like how he accelerates to the rim, still under control and able to finish. No wonder Coach Gillespie thinks that Bogues, as a freshman, has a chance to compete at the next level.
Tarleton trying to dial up that pressure.
Wasn't ready for the alley-oop.
Yeah, not quite. A drive by Watson, and Watson is fouled.
First time we've seen Watson go to the Euro step that time, kind of inside-outside, that hard plant right foot, able to get some space, able to draw the foul. Had he not used the Euro, probably would have been a charge.
Second foul on Freddie Hicks. Team foul number 5 on Tarleton. New Mexico State will try to do some work at the line as Watson, who has not gone to the line much this season, gets 2.
Well, this is a nice dribble penetration here. Inside, outside, draws the contact. He had leverage and got the call.
Watson, the transfer out of Oklahoma State, originally signed at OSU but never played there out of Buford, Georgia. Another one of these transfers for New Mexico State that has a rich history, and if they can put it all together at their new spot, the Aggies could be very, very good still for years to come.
The Aggies experimenting, going with the zone defense here in the second half. This is not really what they do.
And Bogues trying to break it down, but this one falls wide.
You know, when you got a lead like this, you can go to some of your defenses you rarely use to kind of sharpen them up.
Marcus Watson knocks down his second 3 of the second half. He came into this matchup only 1 of 8 from deep this seaon.
Well, and they continue to hit 3 balls at a torrid pace, 11 of 14 now for the game. This is just not what we've seen out of New Mexico State, and hard to do that on the road.
Eddie Galamulame is in for the first time. He goes outside to Javante Hopkins to knock down the 3.
And those have been few and far between for Tarleton State, but they'll take them. And if they can play hard enough, they can get back in it. They've got time, but it's going to have to start on the defensive end.
There's 9 minutes to go in this one, and a 21-point spread for the Aggies. It's a back-and-forth game early, but the Aggies, the 14-2 run over the course of the end of the first half, beginning of the second half. Ball fake by Watson. Watson way off, but an offensive rebound. Perfect spot for Will McNair to score.
And when you've got a 6'10 redshirt sophomore that's 270 pounds, sometimes your best offense is a missed shot, and that time the big man that turned it into offense.
A drive by Shakur Daniel. He has it taken away by McCants. Rice. A 3-pointer in transition off the mark.
I couldn't believe McCants was able to center the break like that and get him a good look in transition. The big man doing it all tonight.
Going to try to post up Hicks again, but this time he's not available. Is
staying with that 2-3 zone.
Yeah, Rice continues to front him inside, but the tireless work by Freddie Hicks, he finally gets the job done.
And it was about the positioning right there and a great lob pass.
Oh, and McCants right back up the floor. New Mexico State continues to put on a show.
And doing it so many different ways, scoring inside, using the 3-ball, in transition, and that time a big flush.
McCants with an 18-point effort in this one. His career high 19 against CSUN earlier this year. Hicks is short but grabs his own rebound. Galamulame fumbles it away.
Had a chance, but New Mexico State very handsy, able to poke it away.
C.J. Roberts calls for a little 2-man game with his big man McCants. Flips it out to Rice, player of the year, preseason in the conference. Back to McCants, doing the dance. Wilson leaning in and scoring, +1.
Unbelievable. A great pass on the skip by McCants. When you get a post who can pass, they are dangerous, and McCants has just been brilliant, and they get the backside penetration, drawing the charge to convert.
Marcus Watson now with a career-high 9 already in this one, but it's been Johnny McCants' night, 18 for the big man. Elite. That's the only way to describe New Mexico State over the last 3 seasons since Chris Jans took over. Not that they weren't good before that, but the Aggies, 4th most wins on average over the past 3 seasons among all Division I men's basketball teams.
And you're seeing why tonight. They can shoot, they can get to the rack, they can play great defense, and New Mexico State has done it all. You see Gonzaga averaging 32 wins the last 3 seasons. The former Kentucky coach, now Tarleton coach Billy Gillespie, putting Gonzaga on the schedule. Gonzaga was scheduled to play Tarleton on December the 8th, and then 2 games later it was going to be Kansas, Baylor, A&M as well.
Yep.
Tough schedule for Tarleton State, but Coach Jans seeing his Aggies coming in, playing some of their best basketball tonight.
And that is the first double-digit game for Marcus Watson of his career, and he comes out. Watson, again, another top 100 player by 247 Sports, 24/7 Sports in his senior season, a 4-star recruit consensus-wise out of Buford, Georgia, and he's starting to pay dividends.
Oh, and a little diamond press here by New Mexico State. They're unveiling everything.
Haven't seen Dotsinko in a while, misses badly on the 3, but tracks down his own miss. And a throwaway by Tarleton. New Mexico State up big, and a nice job to contest by Tarleton. Henry hits the 3. That is 3-pointer number 12 in 17 attempts tonight.
And when New Mexico State blew the game open at 20 in the first half, all of a sudden shooters started shooting effortlessly and loose, and all of a sudden threes started going down with regularity.
And the Aggies trying out some new defenses, I think, on this side. Step in 3 by Hopkins. He made one earlier, but that one's an air ball. New Mexico State opening up the lead to 29.
Nice extra pass there, and Henry able to knock that down. It's been a 3-ball barrage for New Mexico State. He is so good. This New Mexico State team now has hit 12 threes of 17 takes beyond the arc, and they were not a good three-point shooting team, coming in 8th in the conference.
And with the 29-point lead, we're seeing Bryce Rewaltz on the floor for the first time. You'll get a glimpse of him in a moment. Number 32 for New Mexico State, hasn't played in a while. Kalen Williams to the line, though, getting the nod at the point guard spot. 1-1 goes down.
And getting a chance to get some minutes here in a game that is separated by 30 points. A lot of these players from New Mexico State have not seen a lot of time. Williams just 13 minutes a game, has not started a single game, just a sophomore. And this is a game that Coach Jans could use to get some seasoning to a lot of guys that don't make his 8-9-man rotation generally.
That's a really good point. And Tarleton may decide to do that as well as this night wears down. Down by 31. Stepping to the rack, Shamir Bogues lays it in. That's 11. He finally hits double figures tonight.
And a great press break by Tarleton State. Nothing fancy, just set up a standard domino press break, too high, too low, and one in the middle. And Tarleton State, you can tell they're well coached. They've done that before and done it extremely well.
New Mexico State has been hot all night. The pressure defense of Tarleton has not affected the shooting, although they have been able to turn New Mexico State over more than average.
It was a great steal by Daniel, who came in 5th in the league in steals, almost 30 this season.
Back to Shamir Bogues. His 5th double-digit game as a freshman. Dotsinko in a perfect spot. Hicks cannot follow. He's blocked by McNair.
You'd like to see Dotsinko get his feet set, not have to rely on fading away. Nobody was in front of him. You'd like to see him drop step toward the rim and not turn that into a tough shot.
Kalen Williams tries to continue a big night for New Mexico State. Sets up Tillman. Good block out from Shakur Daniel for Tarleton. Still playing hard. Down big. Dotsinko lines one up. So New Mexico State, front end of the back-to-back. Again, they haven't really found a lot of success on the front ends of these this season, as that one's way off by Henry. Chris Chan's not afraid to have his team pull the trigger from Trey early.
No, he's not, but I know he wants to get a better look than that, and he's having a chance to chat with Henry as he goes to the bench. As New Mexico State opening up the big lead, and they've sort of maintained that lead. Tarleton State limited to just 42 points in the game. Remember, they didn't shoot well in their last contest last weekend, just 35%, the lowest in conference so far. They've been limited tonight to 40% and just 42 points.
As Tarleton continues to go deeper into their bench, number 20, Caleb Starks, is on for the first time in this one, and a little rip drive by Freddie Hicks will result in a couple foul shots.
It's a good effort by Freddie Hicks, who doesn't really look like a freshman out there. The Searcy, Arkansas native, 6'6", tough, learning, good move there on the inside. And the best part of his game is the fact that he wants to get better.
Tomorrow's scheduled games include 3 interconference games. All games on the WAC Digital Network, including this one. New Mexico State against Tarleton. UTRGV and Utah Valley locking horns in a matchup between Grand Canyon and Seattle. Also CBU facing Vanguard. Freddie Hicks makes good on both. The thing about Freddie Hicks is he comes from Searcy, Arkansas. That's where Harding University, a really good Division II program, is located. He probably had the opportunity to go that Division II route, but waited his time. Tarleton went and found him, and now he gets the chance to play Division I ball.
And Freddie's a lot like Bogues in his high ceiling. And if he continues to work, he and Bogues are going to be a very tough tandem at the guard spot for the Texans.
Again, Marcus Watson trying to go to work, but has it stripped this time. Small loses it going up, but right there is Bogues. He can't finish, though.
Boy, and Tarleton has had a very hard time putting the ball in the hole in transition, either a missed bunny or a missed shot, a failed conversion, a blown layup, and passes into the corner in transition have not been good tonight.
Not shy on the 3 tonight. They've gone down most of the time through the hands of Tillman. Into the arms of Williams, his 16-footer. No. 3.5 to play in Stephenville. New Mexico State really took control midway through the first half, and they have not relented at all.
And by the way, this New Mexico State team, again, shooting at close to 63%. And this is the best percentage from beyond the arc in Jan's coaching tenure here at New Mexico State.
That is 14 for Shamir Bogues, one shy of a career high as he knocks down a rare three. Putting on the brakes is Kalen Williams, but he stays upright somehow. Almost ran out of his sneakers. Williams getting a chance to run the point today instead of Evan Gilliard II. Donnie Tillman, jab stepping on the great defender, Small, and
jump ball should be.
We'll see. Yeah, they're going to give it a jump ball. It will stay with New Mexico State with only 2 to shoot.
How about Bo's effort right there to tie him up from help?
How about that? But an impressive performance tonight. How about a statement on the WAC Spotlight Game of the Week? New Mexico State ripping Tarleton 71-47 with 2:38 left. The WAC tournament is coming up March 11th through the 13th. You can find it at Orleans Arena in Las Vegas. Dixie State and Tarleton not yet eligible for the WAC tournament, but they soon shall be down the line. And of course, we learned lately that several Texas teams making the flight to the WAC as well, and they will be part of that fray. A design play here for New Mexico State's Bryce Rewalt off the bench. Can't get it to go, but following it in is Kalen Williams. His big night continues.
Kalen Williams on the offensive end, getting the rebound offensively, and that has really helped New Mexico State. Tarleton just can't keep him off the glass here in the second half.
Way short out of the corner for Shamir Bogues. C.J. Roberts has had a nice night as well with his 14, 11 of them in the first half. Rewalt back on the floor. Good sharing, but it poked away. Joey Madimba out in transition.
Nice job by Madimba. He doesn't get a whole lot of time, the freshman out of Mansfield, but making the most of it tonight. His 8th steal of the year. Did a really good job of anticipating that pass. It's one of the reasons why Tarleton came in with as many steals as they had. First in steals in the league.
Bryce Rewalt relocates and hits a three.
Nice sidestep dribble after a bad off-balance three. The possession before by Rewalt. Good take in rhythm.
He's been out with an injury for quite a while and finally gets on the board. Kid out of Las Cruces, New Mexico.
Good finish, good high finish on that three ball. Really nice shooting form by the youngster.
For the brand. New Mexico State continues to extend that big advantage here in Stephenville with 1.5 minutes to go. And again, both these teams getting an opportunity late in this one to rest some of the legs, because remember, Scott, this is a back-to-back, and the second game counts just as much as the first. You got to make sure that you play just as well tomorrow.
And I guarantee you, this New Mexico State team will not shoot nearly as well tomorrow as they have shot tonight. Again, this is the best they have shot from beyond the arc in the Jans era in 4 years. How
about a deep three by Tennessee Owens? No good, but the follow shot goes.
Well, you just cannot give up the offensive glass like that, and you can kind of see that we're into the last minute, and the effort has not been turned down by New Mexico State.
As Marcus Watson continues to build on his career high. Tarleton has completely emptied the bench with Ramon Garcia on out of El Paso. 5'10" freshman. Drive here, and a foul inside the lane puts Kadarius Badgett at the line for Tarleton.
Badgett might have gotten away with one right there, a little bit out of control. Could have gone either way, and it goes the way of the Texans here.
You know, Chris Jans told us coming into this one, he said this game was a lot like a dentist appointment at the end of the week. You know it's going to be uncomfortable. You know it's not going to be very fun. So we get a look at the drive. And Tarleton's not a fun team to play against, but the Aggies handled it well tonight, and you've got to tip your cap in every way.
You know, and for most coaches, though, it's like a dentist appointment insofar as he has to coach a game. Most coaches don't like coaching in games.
Is that right?
They like to coach in practice because that's where the learning takes place. That's where the teaching happens. Most coaches are teachers first, coaches second.
That's spoken like a true coach, Scott Garner. Wide open layup, finally crawls down for Javante Hopkins, a sophomore out of the Houston area. 5 points for Hopkins, player that made the transition from Division II to Division I within the last year. But tonight has been all about New Mexico State. One of their best performances of the season, knocking down double-digit threes, staying away from the Tarleton scrappy defense, and dominating in Stephenville. Final score, New Mexico State 78, Tarleton 49.
Really nice game for Coach Jans. He's got to be so pleased with his New Mexico State Aggies who came out early on. They struggled turning the ball over the first 5 minutes, but when they got the wheels on, they were literally unstoppable. The best three-point shooting game in the Jans era for the Aggies.
Jans and the Aggies pick up the win. Two great coaches going at it today, but New Mexico State picks up the emphatic victory tonight over Tarleton on our WAC game of the week. They'll do it all again tomorrow. So for my partner, Scott Garner, producer Chase Neidig, and our entire ESPN crew, this is John Little saying so long from Stephenville, Texas, where the final score, New Mexico State 78, Tarleton 51. All games airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of the WAC and ESPN.